And joining us now on the program, pleased to have with us Ross Bronson, Red Summit Advisors, Ag Risk Consultant, here today to talk to us about the cattle market. And Ross, it's always great to catch up with you, and I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us here on the show today.
I'm good, sir. Thank you so much for having me again.
Well, Ross, let's jump in and talk a little bit first. I know Red Summit Advisors, you guys are hosting a really great webinar that you are going to be leading on Friday morning, looking at the Rangeland Analysis Platform, or RAP. Can you just give us a bit of an overview about that webinar coming up on Friday that folks should attend?
Yeah, this is something I really like. I used it as part of my master's program, and it really just empowers producers to kind of know where their forage is at and what it's doing, not only long-term trends, but in the moment planning. In the moment, considering within a few weeks. So it's this, we're going to talk a little bit about what it is. We're going to talk about how to use it. And then I'm going to show how to kind of navigate the program and the data you can pull through Excel and some things like that. And it's really part of my kind of narrative I'm trying to push of we're going to be in a rebuilding phase soon. And so I think it's really important that we take a minute. We're in this really fortunate situation where we can build back better, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not to use the tagline, but we can make sure we're accounting for proper cattle size. We can make sure we really know what our forage can withstand and get some good long-term carrying capacity going on, and really focus on a really sustainable growth and level of growth depending on your operation.
Fantastic. Well, I know this is a free webinar for folks, and the link to register that can be found on your website, redsummit.com. We'll also post the links on our website and under the video description as well here for us talking today. Let's talk a little bit more about this cattle market, Ross. I know here recently we've seen just an explosion to the upside in prices, whether we're talking cash futures following along with cash, setting some new records. And you alluded to we're going to be in that position soon. We're going to be rebuilding this cattle herd. What's your general take and thought here, just as you look at this cattle market and the recent run up we've had here in prices as of late?
Yeah. So I guess first I'll disclaimer, I don't do futures trading, but
Yeah,
so anything I have to say is opinion.
sure.
But I think the thing I like about the current uptrend, especially in the futures, is I feel like it's a pretty sustainable uptrend. We've had some good corrections, which help support that growth. It's been interesting to watch. I kind of alluded to it in some of my market reports earlier in the year. Watch the live cattle explode while the feeder cattle kind of stayed low for a little while. And we're definitely seeing that feeder cattle market come up. And so where I'm at right now in the market is for this year, I think there's still some upside. I don't think we're necessarily done with the climb, but I definitely think, I personally think we're gonna hit a plateau sooner than later. We're coming into June, and so my big thing is I want to watch the summer sales to see what the calves are doing, and within like 2 or 3 months, I think we'll be looking at in my opinion more stable prices. And so for me, I'm starting to talk about LRP a little more with a lot of my customers. It wasn't really time before now. Now I think it's worth at least getting some applications in and looking at maybe some endorsements.
Well, expand on that thought a little bit here. Let's talk more about LRP. And I've heard some of the same kind of talk from folks that they're starting to bring that up in conversations more. Why are you seeing that? Why are you pushing a little more of that conversation talking LRP? Can you just share some thoughts there, Ross?
Yeah. So for me personally, one of the things I've been looking at is I kind of had this 250 benchmark when October expected ending value on a 5 to 600 weight calf was in that 250 range. That's when I was going to start feeling more comfortable talking about and pushing LRP. I had some folks want to lock some stuff in February, and it just we were at 219, 220 on the expected ending values, and I just felt like there was a lot more upside. And so now that I feel like we've kind of reached that benchmark that I was looking at, I'm a lot more comfortable pushing it now. Now, the important thing to remember is even still, I think might be a little upside. So be obviously you need to be prepared to pay a premium if it comes to that. But really, there's no reason not to lock in these prices, and the hope is that if it goes up from here, then you'll be able to afford the premium through the higher calf prices, which is one of the nice things about LRP.
Well, I know as well, obviously LRP, one of the tools in the toolbox that Red Summit Advisors you guys talk about with folks. I know PRF is out there as well. Can you just share some thoughts on the PRF side as well, Ross?
Yeah, it's been an interesting year for PRF. A lot of the northwest, obviously really wet this year. And so that can start the narrative of, oh no, we're all going to owe. But when you got to remember, PRF's working off of like a 70-year average of rainfall data, and there are multiple regions where just over 70 years the climate has changed enough to where you're drier than average on a regular basis. So I do think that this year we're going to have some folks getting bills, but I really think those later intervals are going to help fill in the gap, and they won't actually owe. There's always somebody that owes something somewhere, but the biggest thing with PRF that we're talking about right now is it's been around long enough. Everyone's enjoyed, some payouts during the dry time, but it's not just a drought coverage policy. It really should be part of your larger risk management policy.
Well, I know when you think about policies, whether it's PRF or LRP, you hit the term on the head. It's about risk management, right, Ross? That's what it all comes down to with our operation, is making sure we manage that risk.
Yeah, and I think it's great that we're starting to get opportunity to do that in the cattle industry, especially in the cow-calf sector, where businesses across the board for years have had insurance options available to them. And so I appreciate that's developing now, and we have more opportunity for the factory to be insured, so to speak.
Yeah, great thoughts. Anything else on your mind you want to mention here about this cattle market before we run out of time today, Ross?
My big thing is sit down and look at some stuff. It's really easy. I know inputs are up. I know that's rough on a lot of guys, but you really should be looking at some extra profit this year. If not, maybe we should talk and evaluate your operation. But don't just go jump and buy a brand new pickup truck. Sit down and think about it. Talk with everyone involved in your operation, and let's make some really good decisions that's just going to set us up for success moving forward.
Fantastic thoughts. And again, folks can learn more online, redsummit.com. That's redsummit.com. You could also sign up for Friday's webinar as well with Ross. And we appreciate the time. Thanks so much for joining us, Ross Bronson with Red Summit Advisors. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much.
Happy to be here. Thanks.